Imagine a heart beating, but with no body. Imagine a lung breathing, but with no flesh, no bones, no limits. Now imagine the cosmos, not as an object, but as a movement, a rhythm that pulses, expands, contracts, a cycle that never began, a cycle that may never end. Since we first looked up at the sky, we've asked, where did we come from? Where are we going? But what if we're asking the wrong question? What if the universe has no starting point? What if it's a continuous breath, uncosmic, silent, infinite? Carl Sagan once said we are the way the cosmos knows itself. But what if this cosmos had already known itself before? What if we are not living in the first universe, but simply the latest of many? Not a debut, but a return. Modern physics is flirting with ideas that sound ancient, not because they're outdated, but because they're timeless. The oscillating universe hypothesis doesn't describe a beginning. It describes a cycle where the Big Bang is not a birth, but a transition, a threshold between a dying universe and one being reborn. Mack, astrophysicist and thinker of cosmic ends, proposes something bold. Perhaps the end of the universe won't be a cold, eternal silence. Perhaps the end is simply a new beginning. Perhaps after the last star fades, the cosmos will contract, condense, reorganize, and suddenly pulse once more, like a heartbeat in the dark, like a new cycle of existence. So imagine this universe as a heart pulsing in the void, living, dying, living again, not by chance, but by nature. This is the invitation, not to imagine a beginning, but to feel the rhythm of a cosmos that may never have begun, and because of that, may never cease to be. From an early age, we learn to think in straight lines. We're born, we grow, we live, we die. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end. This narrative shapes our biographies, our calendars, our myths. But what if linearity is only a habit of mind and not a cosmic truth? The idea of an eternal universe is unsettling because it disrupts this habit. It removes the starting point, and without a starting point, there is no ground, no count, no origin to search for. In cyclic cosmology, time is not an arrow, it is a circle. A cycle with no absolute beginning, no edges. Just transitions, expansions, contractions, deep breaths of reality. Imagine a symphony that never starts with a first note. Imagine a river that doesn't spring from a source, but always flows, coming from itself. That may be how the universe is, a perpetual movement that doesn't originate, it transforms. But this leads us to an even deeper question. If the universe has no beginning, what does it carry from one cycle to the next? What does it remember? What does it forget? Cosmic memory, if it exists, may be subtle, perhaps hidden in the laws of physics, which persist from cycle to cycle. Or maybe everything is wiped clean, like a dream that evaporates at dawn, leaving behind only echoes, vague shapes, intuitions. Between a universe that dies and one that is born, what survives? Space, time, consciousness? There are no simple answers. But that's where the beauty of the question begins, because perhaps what brings us closest to the universe is not certainty, but wonder at what may have never begun. We live in a universe where everything tends toward disorder. That's the premise of the second law of thermodynamics. Heat dissipates, structures collapse, order gives way to chaos. Over time, everything decays, everything spreads, everything fades. But does this also apply to the universe itself? At the end of a cosmic cycle, is entropy a dead end? Or deep within time, could thermal death be not a final stop, but a condition for starting over? Physicist Penrose proposes something daring. His conformal cyclic cosmology suggests that when the universe reaches an extreme state of expansion, so cold, so empty, so diluted, time itself loses meaning. Space stretches so far that scale dissolves. And in that state, paradoxically, the end becomes indistinguishable from the beginning. Like a blank canvas, the universe returns to total simplicity. No massive particles, no complexity, no past. And from this absolute void, a new Big Bang may emerge, not as an explosion, but as a smooth, inevitable, silent transition. It's a concept that challenges intuition. Entropy, always increasing, dissolves into infinity. Heat fades, structure vanishes, and then suddenly something is reborn, as if the universe inhales deeply, exhales time, and then breathes it back in, differently, in a new cycle. In this cosmic dance, entropy isn't the end. It's the beat between worlds, the pause between cycles, the silence before the next note in the eternal symphony. If the universe has lived through other cycles before this one, is it possible to find evidence? Is it possible to hear in the silence of space the echo of a cosmos that came before? The cosmic microwave background, that faint glow still echoing from the Big Bang, may contain clues. It's like the cold skin of a dead star, still trembling with ancient memory. Some scientists, like Penrose and Gozadian, investigate circular patterns, unusual symmetries, repeated structures in the texture of this radiation. They suggest certain rings may be marks from black hole collisions in a universe that no longer exists, a cosmic inheritance crossing oblivion. It's controversial, it's debated. Other physicists challenge these findings, saying they're statistical coincidences. But the mere act of looking for these signatures says something profound about us. We want to know if we've been here before. We want to know if reality remembers. And if it does, the cosmic microwave background might not just be the sound of our universe's birth. It could be the whisper of a forgotten cosmos, a remnant of previous cosmic lives, a reminder that maybe nothing truly disappears. It only changes form. Life, like the universe, pulses in cycles, cellular cycles, geological cycles, cycles of birth and death. We are made of atoms forged in stars, recycled by supernovae, reorganized over billions of years. None of this is accidental. It's pattern, it's consequence, it's rhythm. Life on Earth feels exceptional, but maybe it's not unique. Maybe, if the universe has undergone multiple cycles, life has arisen many times before, in other configurations, in other forms, on worlds that no longer exist. Astrobiology, still searching for its first confirmation beyond Earth, now faces a paradox. If there were other universes before this one, where are the traces of ancient life? Could any form of information survive the collapse and rebirth of a cosmos? Could life leave deeper imprints than we imagine? Perhaps life is more than an anomaly. Perhaps it is an inevitable expression of cosmic physics, a repetition of patterns that, when given the chance, always return. Just like stars, just like time, just like the universe. Now take one step further. Imagine that the cycles of the universe aren't just physical. Imagine they also involve consciousness, information, experience. It's a bold hypothesis, but not impossible. Some thinkers suggest that consciousness, like matter, may have universal structures. That the patterns governing brain activity aren't so different from those that organize galaxies. That there's a fractal similarity between what we feel and what exists. And if, with each cycle, the universe not only reorganizes, but refines itself, And if it learns, and if it, like an expanding mind, subtly adjusts its laws, its structures, its ways of being, it may sound mystical, but it's also deeply human. Because in imagining a universe that pulses, breathes, recreates, we're also imagining a universe that feels, that maybe in some way recognizes itself. And if that's true, then maybe our gaze toward the sky is more than contemplation. Maybe it's resonance. Maybe we are fragments of a conscious whole, trying to remember who we once were and who we might become again. Carl Sagan once said, "The history of science is the history of our escape from ignorance." But perhaps in the case of the universe, that escape leads us back to the beginning, or rather, to the cycle. Because understanding cosmic cycles isn't just a step forward in physics. It's a mirror of existence, a reflection of human life itself, which is also born, dies, and is reborn, in children, in ideas, in gestures that outlast the passage of time. Neil deGrasse Tyson often says the cosmos isn't about where we are, but about what we are. If that's true, and the universe is cyclical, then so are we. We are echoes, we are pulses. We are memories in motion. Just as a tree sheds its leaves only to bloom again in another season, perhaps the universe sheds itself to rediscover its form anew. Perhaps the end isn't the opposite of the beginning, but it's transformed repetition. And if that's true, then when we contemplate the end of the cosmos, we are not witnessing the end of everything. We are witnessing the beginning of something we once were, and in some way will be again.